Okay,
Okay.
I'll
So
send you
we're
the link.
there. I'm going to who knows what that was about. I'm still not getting any of the controls, but we're pretty casual here.
Well,
Um,
as Kathy says, gotta love technology,
go
technology,
with that. I
love
think
technology.
I
we
love
just talked
technology. I
about
love
that.
technology. I love technology. It works for me. It works for me. It works for me.
Yep.
This is that awkward pause we talked about in your meeting an hour ago, and that and actually, we haven't had a chance to talk after that. I think that stuff is very, very important because some people, when something happens, they totally freeze, and that instead of just going with the flow, we're all human beings. We're trying to figure all this out. So, um, I wanted to thank everybody for showing up. We were talking about last week's call with Maggie and the importance for those that you know her to recognize what she got on. And we try to, here on the Veterans Achieve Business Systems YouTube, the recording, the mastermind, whatever we want to call it this week. It's it's a place to practice. It's a place to be safe. Um, we're all family. Kathy got all dressed up for me today. I love her pearls. But I feel so special. But what I hope that we take away from this is that we are family in a way. Doesn't mean I want you moving next door, but I feel comfortable with all of us, and we're scattered across actually North America. And I appreciate people coming up. Ken asked if he could come because he was going to be driving. I said, absolutely. And that I love seeing people that think that it's important to be visible and to give support. Um, and this is going to be my segue, Sonja. Um, I've been looking forward to this for actually more than a couple weeks, uh, because when you and Chuck announced that you were going to be taking over the publishing arm for Achieve Systems, um, I was happy about it, and that I think we all have questions as to who you guys are, and that what I've seen is you've been extremely visible from almost 2 years ago when I met you, um, and how you took on the Tampa conference. And here you are, you've been dealing with family issues up in Indiana. You got getting the second house up in Indiana. You're going back and forth, and you're making time to share with people uh, not only what you're doing, but what you can do for them. And uh, I truly appreciate it, having been through the process. And um, I kind of laugh because I first took the write your book in 4 hours class, and I was naive enough to think that I was going to do it in 4 hours. But after 2 years, I think what I've learned out of it, or 18 months, is we have to realize who we're working with and how do we get better because of their expertise. I was talking to somebody, I'm doing that whole lead thing on LinkedIn, and I was trying to explain to some, actually a rear admiral, uh, how we try to support each other. And because we know each other, and as we get to know each other better, we can do a more efficient job. I can introduce Kathy, or I can introduce Maggie, or I can introduce Arca, but I can't sell them. they have to sell themselves. And this is the platform, whatever you want, that we can get to know each other and hopefully do more business and add to the whole family thing as we move forward. So, Sonja, I'm going to thank you for doing this. I'm excited to hear what you're going to be talking about today, tied into the whole publishing arm. And I'm sure that there'll be questions afterwards.
Awesome. Let me share my screen so everybody can see. I think I shared the wrong one. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, that's the whole one, not the single slide.
Okay. How about now?
Thank you, Mac.
Okay, not that one.
No, you
Let's
can do that. You
switch.
can thank me.
How about that? Everybody see my slide?
Touchdown.
Okay. I've got to see the screen here. Okay, now I can see it. Cool beans. All right. So thank you, Mac. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Sonja Budreau, and I am so excited to be a part of this community. It's been over a year now that Mac's got this going, and it's been such a joy to be here and see everybody grow and also see all the speakers that we've had. And I'm honored to be here today. And so what I wanted to talk to you all about is and explore with you is because many people, we're on a journey toward becoming, different versions of ourselves. And some of you might be on your fifth version, 10th version, whatever. We reinvent ourselves all the time. But just think, as you're on this journey, are you an author? And if you are an author, you're ahead of us. And that's great. So I hope that you get a lot of value out of this today and hopefully share some comments in the chat how being an author has changed your life or your business. And then for those of you who have not written a book yet, really plug in today. And I want to start with one simple thought. Have you ever thought that I should write a book someday, but you didn't know where to begin? You have your story, what shaped your life, knowledge that you have gained over this life, your expertise, could you help someone? And so I want you to think about this as we go through this presentation today. And so, all of us, we already own our own intellectual capital. We have our expertise, we have our experience, our stories that shaped our lives. We have systems and processes that we have built. We have lessons that we have learned that we can share. And that we have, if you're a veteran, you have all of that story, your transition story, everything that you have ever gone through, is all intellectual capital. And you already have the content for a book. It's just hasn't been organized yet. And so, which book is already inside you? There are many different types of books, but I want to focus on these today. Your expertise. You're the expert at something. Maybe you're a coach like me. Maybe you're a consultant. Maybe you're a speaker like Kathy. Maybe you're a storyteller like Val. Or you're a business owner like Steve and Arca and Mac. And then or leadership. If you're a veteran, you've been at one point in a leadership role, or you've led other troops or soldiers, and you've got experience. And then transformation. When you go through life, there's roadblocks that we all hit, and how we get over those roadblocks is a transformation that we go within ourselves. And so that transformation that you experience may help someone else. And I know as a coach, I transform lives all around the world. And and it's vital that we share our talents. Maybe you're expert in your field. You have a business authority, and as an entrepreneur, there's stand out among all the other entrepreneurs. We have to know what our lane is, what our expertise is, what we can share, what people see us as expert at. And the legacy book, this is your stories, your expertise, your knowledge that you can share in a book, and not leave it here and take it to the grave with you, because your life matters and what you have done matters. And there's people all around us who need our help and are struggling, and it'd be great just to make one life, help change one life. And so, which path feels most like your book? The expertise, leadership, transformation, business authority, or a legacy book? Drop it in the chat if you can. And then this next slide here is, as an Achieve member, you guys have heard Vanessa talking about, the different revenue streams that you can create from your business. Well, your book is your ecosystem. It's your gateway to more opportunities, more clients, more revenue, and also helps brand your business and you, because you are the expert. And there is one person that comes to mind when I was working on this slide, and I have worked quite a bit with him in the last year, and his name is Daniel Gomez. And are most of you familiar with who Daniel is? Okay, cool. All right, well, Daniel, he wrote a book called The Millionaire Mindset. And I have been to his Millionaire Mindset workshop in Texas, and also the Sticker Shock Academy, where I had to get on stage and speak in front of people I didn't know, and get out of my comfort zone. And so when I was there listening to him, this Millionaire Mindset really changed my life, really impacted me in a lot of ways, because he told me, or us, that your book is it builds your ecosystem. And from that Millionaire Mindset, he's built $1 million business. And how many of us would love to have that kind of a business? It takes hard work and effort, but it also takes structure and determination and commitment. And over this last year and a half, I've worked with Marty Dickinson and my speaking, and and a lot of the alpha leaders through Achieve have helped me so much. And I have really learned that, now as a book publisher, the book can lead to speaking opportunities. That's your business card to help you get on stage. When you're networking with people, that's your business card. If you're coaching and consulting, that helps show that you're authority and expert in that space. And it also helps you get on, with media and interviews, podcasts, YouTube. It's a never-ending opportunity to make it build your ecosystem. And also for Chuck and I, it's helped us build community. We're community builders. And then, as a coach, I've built courses and programs, but, I never thought of putting it in an actual book. I've never shared that with anybody other than my own clients. And so, as I'm going through this journey with you, my eyes have been opened, and I hope today that I've sparked some curiosity and ideas in you, that you can see how a book can really change your life. And then, if you have a pen and paper, I want you to, I want to do a little exercise with you to help you with navigating these ideas here on paper. Because I know if I get it out on paper, I have a much better chance of executing. And so what we're going to do is there's 3 prompts here, and I want you to answer them like the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't spend too much time. Just write down the first words that come to your mind. So, number 1, I help. Who do you help? Who do you want to help? For example, I help veterans successfully transition from military service into meaningful civilian careers. That's my help statement. You might have a lot of help statements, but just focus on doing one. And for a business owner, here's one. I help small business owners turn their expertise into a scalable business. Okay, and then number 2, I know how to. What problem do you solve? What lesson can you teach? What transformation can you help someone navigate? Maybe you know how to lead teams through uncertainty. Maybe you know how to tell veteran stories. Maybe you know how to train virtual assistants. Maybe you know how to grow a business through building relationships. Right? Whatever comes up. Okay, number 3. I want to be known for. What is your expertise? What is your message? What is your experience? Or what impact do you want to be associated with your name? Write that down. So I'll give you guys here about a minute here. And as you're working on that, just think about how impactful your story, your wisdom, your expertise can be shared. I think there is a speaker, well-known motivational speaker, I think his name is Les Brown, and he said that, I think the richest piece of real estate, or the most, someone help me out if you know this, is the graveyard, because so many people go to their grave with all of their knowledge and they never share. And so look at all of that wealth of knowledge that we have lost that was not ever shared. And I know personally, I don't want to be like that. I want to try to share whatever I can to help people. So would anybody be willing to share in the chat, or, come on and on the call here and share with us your three answers?
I will.
Okay. I've got somebody that said Veterans Connect, play it forward.
That was me.
Oh, okay, great. All right, so for time, I'm just going to go to the next one, but we'll have open up here for questions and comments, and then
I think Val raised her hand.
oh, go ahead, Val. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
It's okay. Well, I'm writing, and my book is using oral histories that I've done of World War II prisoners of war. And what I came away with after each one of them was that they taught me a life skill. And so I am using that life skill to teach others, whether they're veterans or whether they're a young boy or a young girl or a, man, woman, whatever. But I really want veterans to look at it because I think their trauma was remarkably difficult. I'm not saying any of the other wars haven't been, but they just bucked up and really the grit, they did it. And so I want that to be the whole purpose of what I'm writing. And I think I'm doing it pretty well. I'm on chapter 8. I've got them all written, but you've got to revise, revise, revise. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at. But um, I really am enjoying the time. It's now I thought I could do it in 5 days too, Mac, and I realized no, that was last year. And now I realize I'm using AI, but I'm really wanting my voice to be heard. So it's and the stories I'm telling, oh God, I'm having such a good time. One man, they were in it's just a short one. One man was well, there were 10,000 men from Stalag Luft 3, which was the Great Escape prison camp. And they were force marched, and it was the coldest winter on record. Hitler actually wanted them murdered, wanted the guards to kill them, but their general said, no, no, you can't do that. So they force marched them, and they marched about 55 miles in 3 days. The problem was it was the coldest winter on record. They didn't have the clothes or the shoes. And so those things that happened to them. But this one man that I interviewed, he was the first one I did. He had a friend who just had a child. And he said to him during the march, he said, I can't go anymore. I'm just going to sit down. And he said, you are not. And he grabbed his arms and put him around his shoulders. And he drug him until he felt like he was able to walk again. And then he was able to see his child.
Wow. That's remarkable.
I mean, it's just a short story, but still, it's really impactful. And that's what I want people to feel is the impact about what they did, how they did it, and, the successes and the failures. And, that's a lot of things that we need to learn from as our failures because, when things easy, we get a little bit slack. Anyway, that's all that's what I'm working on. So.
Well, thank you for sharing. And I see Julia shared and Maggie shared. Let me go through and finish the last couple slides and we'll open it up to discuss. And let me get my screen back on. Now, everyone knows about AI or uses AI. And, AI is our co-pilot. There's a lot of people that are writing books with AI 100%. You don't want to lose your voice, your expertise, and what makes us, human. AI is not human, but it can be used as your co-pilot. It helps you clarify your ideas. It helps you organize your ideas or your chapters or content. Helps you outline and puts it in more structured form. It helps you with drafting your book. It helps you refine, like if you've already written it and you've had to, like Val said, you had to refine what you've written. It's excellent at that. And then if you have any content, it helps you repurpose that. And so this is just my AI, like safe practices and awareness tip, kind of partnering off my husband Chuck's book. We talk about AI a lot. And so when you're writing, remember to keep your experience, your voice, your expertise human. And, AI is the co-pilot. You are the author. And the impact is yours, not AI's. And then, now that you've done this exercise, what could the right book make possible in your life. You know, your book could help you amplify your message. You could reach people that you never thought you could and create a big impact like Val was, she was just sharing. Opening new opportunities, speaking, partnerships, media, and all other kind of opportunities. Growing your business, building your credibility, building your brand, building your community and connection, and creating a lasting legacy, something that you can leave for, you know, if you pass on your business to your family or your stories, you know, documenting is, and you know, but one book can change a life. Your book could change many. So your story matters. And so let's write it. And so last week I mentioned this. You know, if you have a book idea, you don't have to write it alone. I know I had been working on a book of my own and I felt all alone. That's one of the reasons why my husband and I started this Business Laces Publishing, because the last several years that we've been around a lot of different publishers, we see a lot of good practices and we see some practices that could be improved. And so that's one of the things. I'm starting this Monday AI Author Lab. It's going to be through Facebook, and I'm going to do it every other Monday, starting in September. And I want to bring aspiring authors together to help provide, you know, us to help you get clarity, how to use AI strategically, how to develop your book, you know, how to keep moving it forward. And then I will have featured guests, featured authors, and live author conversations. And some of the authors that we're talking to are not just business people or veterans. You know, my husband and I were at the Gen Con film making, or Gen Con film or Gen Con festival, and my husband's the director of the film festival. And we have filmmakers from all around the world that come. And they had a writer symposium there this year, and I talked to a lot of different writers, filmmakers, a lot of creative people, and we're going to start having writing contests as well, and collaborative books. And so if you have any ideas and you'd like to bring it to me and we could discuss on how to launch that, we would really welcome that. And then, you know, if you want to join the AI Author Lab that I'll be launching in September, please, you know, drop a comment in the chat, Author Lab, in your email. And then I can personally send you the launch details, upcoming topics, speakers, and how to join. And, you know, come with a big book idea, or just come with the spark. Bring a friend. You know, let's bring your book to life. And, you know, again, I want to help empower authors. That's part of my me, Sonja. I'd love to help empower people and change lives. I help them lift them up to be their own hero in their life. That's why I love veterans so much. And so this AI Author Lab, if you would like to join, I'd love to have you. You know, your story, your expertise, your legacy matters. And so, you know, I've got my contact information here. If you want to set up a meeting with me, I know this Calendly link is really small, but my Calendly link is calendly.com/coach Sonja Budreau /clarity call. I will put it in the chat. And then I would like to open it up for any comments or questions, or hand it back over to you, Mac.
Everybody can unmute themselves since I don't have any control here today. You know what I like, Sonja, and I kind of talked about this when we were opening up, is watching how you've expanded your value to this community. And that, you know, probably my first memory is that you were doing something with veterans and you gave me a star, and that meant something to me. And I actually, and Val's picture just popped up as the spotlight for some reason, and but it's to remind me that in you talking about all the World War II stories, Val, um, I've often said, when it comes to veterans, we all had our individual wars, and they were all big for us. We grew up on hearing, my generation on what our uncles and our great uncles did in the war. I also think, Phyllis, I'm on the phone. She should know better. The 9/11 heroes, I think, fit into a pattern like World War II. The country was attacked. Most other wars, when I look back at it, there was a lot of buildup. There was conflict going on. Korea was going on for a while, and that Desert Storm and Iraqi freedom. There were things that led up to all of that. But you talking about the stories, Val, makes me pay more attention to the other notices I get. Uh, I just saw the last guy from the I'm drawing a blank, the death march in the Philippines just passed away. And there's only a few of those warriors left. So what you're doing is so valuable. But we need to think about all the other generations, because their war is important also. Not just the battle part of it, but the human story. Between 18 and 22, a lot of young men, now a lot more young women, uh, signed a blank check. They didn't know what they were getting into. They may have had a concept, but telling that story, and this is where I'm coming back to what Sonja is talking about, having that story be told is extremely important for all of us. Sonja, you're muted.
Yeah, you're right. There has been so much happen in our world that there's a lot of different narratives. People don't know what the truth is. We may know ourselves what the truth is, but there's a lot of people around us that are really confused. And, by getting out there and telling the stories, with, truths, that makes a difference. I mean, because all these wars that we have had in our lifetime, we're still finding things out about them, and we're still hearing stories, and that they should be documented and told and shared. And our veterans, they're the ones that help us have freedom. And
Yep.
Val, was that you?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. I
Yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt you.
jump in. And
Well, the thing that just blows me away is we are like 20% of our country's history is the only time we have been not at a war. And all the rest of the time we have had some kind of conflict, some kind of war. And it just, an app, no, it's not an app. A university in the East it's called, gosh, I've lost it. Anyway, it's about war, and they follow everything. They tell you how much air, what they're doing with the air, and they're doing with the machinery there, with the bombs and things like that they're doing. And I just can't help but believe right now the world is getting bombarded. Our earth is getting bombarded and bombarded and bombarded. And we're seeing these 70-mile winds or more. And we go, God, we never had those before. Well, we've never had as many conflicts and as many continuous bombing and killing of people, and and all of a sudden now we've got all these earthquakes going on. And I just wonder what our military and because war is really valuable to a country because they make a lot of money doing a war. You know, it just is a reality. And when we went into Iraq, our government made a slush fund for war, which they just keep filling it with money and more money and more money and more money. And we need to take a look at that because I'm not saying I'm against it. I mean, I think there are times when we need to use it, but I just have watched things and listened, and I'm 71 years old, and I wasn't happy about the Vietnam War with my uncle being an airman, and then all the other things that followed. And it's just, I'm so grateful that I have these POWs that were in my life because I could turn my camera around, but no, I'm not going to do that to show you a room full of World War II. So anyway, that's all. I'm off my pedestal right now, so you guys can go ahead and talk about something else.
Well, I think that, to put it in context to not war, but the storytelling, for anybody that is astute at all, they know that stories are extremely important. It used to be the travelers around with the prayer the wagon train and sitting around the campfire, is the ancestors telling the stories from between the Indian tribes and the Celtics and the Romans and all that. Stories have always been important. We're in a world where it's not just word of mouth anymore. And it's part of the marvel of us being on this video, George Jetson phone call, as I refer to them, that we can actually see each other. Sonja, what I want to know is what is the basic process in that Arica has a story that she needs to get out?
Well, what we do is, one, we want to have a meeting to get book clarity, find out what your ideas are, find out what matters, but also look at the target audience that see what they're saying is their pain and what's important to them. So that way your book will land with that audience. So that way you can become a bestseller. And that is one of I was on here back in March when I was talking about my AI business clarity scorecard. Well, I have a prompt system that I can take you through on to help you identify your book idea, your book title, your target audience, what their needs, what their wants, what their pains are. And so that way you know what your writing is going to land.
So
And
if I booked a time with you, I just want to make sure because, I'm talking to people and I want them to understand. I I want to get started. I want to reach out to Oasis Business or Oasis Publishing, I think is your proper name.
right.
The are you going to send me an AI form and I have to do the work, or are you going to walk me through the form and put those things in and help guide me? Because me standing up and doing a half-hour thing off the top of my head drives me goofy. But if I have somebody prompting me, I can talk for days.
Yeah,
And
I've created like a book blueprint that we will gather your information and fill it in. Some people want to do, I can give them the blueprint, they can fill it out, then we can meet, then I can help them through it. Or if there's someone that feels more comfortable doing, we can do, I have a workshop, the book blueprint workshop, which I haven't started yet, but it's in the works. So these things that you're talking about, there's a lot of people. We talked to somebody last night that he has a story that he wants to share, but he doesn't have time to, so I only have 1 day a month. Can you help me in 1 day a month write my book? And so, we also have ghostwriters that are part of our team that can help someone with writing their book. And, there's, then you're looking at, if you do want to get a book published, we have, if you have a manuscript or a book that's all ready to go, we have just a basic package that you can do that. But if you want to do the book coaching and, help with getting your book published and promoted, we have that package too. But this AI author lab is really going to help give you the kickstart. That's a free offering that you can be in there and you can learn from each other. And as a community, we can help each other get move forward and have progress. So you don't have to do it alone. And so, then there'll be a writer's AI, or there'll be a writer's inner circle. So once you become a book published author of Business Oasis, we'll have a writer's circle. So we'll continue to build. And I know that sometimes time is really, I wish I had 48 hours in the day sometimes instead of 24. I don't have enough time, enough bandwidth. And so that's why, as a community, we can help each other. We've got other book coaches besides Chuck and I. And if any of you have that gift and want to share, let me know if you want to be, a speaker or a presenter on my AI author lab, because, I've got a guy who worked with Philo, the guy Philo. He's the one that did all the animation or all the drawings for the Little Mermaid. His best friend, Charles Monset, I ran into him at Gen Con. He's got a book this thick, like 10-pound book that he's done with role playing, but he draws, and he's like the Land of the Lost and other, cartoons and stuff, but he's a big Dungeon Dragon role player. So, we get it. There's a process. Not everybody knows how to get started, but if you have a blueprint that we can help you develop, then you have your starting point.
That makes me feel more comfortable. I'm sure it does a lot of people, guessing at what I'm supposed to say can be challenging. And having somebody, I always, think of the electric cattle prod, get my
Yeah.
book type stuff. So you did put your information in the chat so people can reach out. Do we have any other thoughts, questions, comments?
Maggie had a question about a textbook style book. Yeah, the author lab, that would be a great place for you to come to, get that structured and get that built out. And so you're on mute.
Maggie, you muted.
Okay, I have a book that is basically textbook style that's, for the most part, as far as I'm looking at it, looks to be complete, but I need some help with that next step.
Okay. Yeah. Set up a call or email me and we can set up time to meet to discuss your next steps. Who else? Let's see. Ken.
Yeah, I do have a question,
Yeah.
Sonja. So, where does it, where does your support typically end? Like once the book is published, do you also help what comes next? I know you did mention about having a community, but do you also help your client for marketing and maybe promotion or expanding it to some other formats available, such as ebooks or audiobooks?
Yes, we do. We have different packages, but we have a la carte services too. But if you want, say if you get your book published, well, now you're ready to get it on Amazon. We help you, walk you through on how to set that up, how to get your book up on Amazon, whether it's digital or print, and you can get your book print on demand. And And then we have a package that would include, like, once you write your manuscript, you're going to need to edit it. We have professional editors that have been doing this 20 years that can help you, seamlessly get that book completed and finalized. So once it's finalized, it's up on Amazon, you get the pre-launch sale, then you do your digital, or you do your release date so you can have a digital or a print on demand book. But then we have a package also that would include the promotion part. So that way, if you wanted a banner with you and your book to take to conferences or speaking engagements, wherever it is, we have that. Plus, we have it built in where you can get, I think it's 100 books that we have costed out, where it's a lot cheaper than buying it individually on your own. And so we can help you get started with a book in hand. So when you start going places, you have, your book. And so we have the whole process. And it just depends on what your needs are. And so we can work with that. We have basic packages, but we're also customizing packages for our Achieve members. So, we can definitely, work together and find out what your needs are, and then see where it goes from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd like to know more. Finally, just book an appointment through your calendar.
Okay. Yeah. And I apologize to anybody. I know I've had some meetings with some people I've had to reschedule or put off. I'm right in the middle of moving. I'm in Florida. I'm in Indiana. I don't even know where I'm at. But this is great. This is one of my first time presenting this presentation, so I hope it went over well. And your feedback's really important. But it seemed like the exercise was really helpful. I've got a lot of people responded, and I appreciate that. And there's a lot of people that's signed up to be notified when the launch is happening. If you know an author who might be interesting to be on the AI Author Lab mastermind group, send me their name and make an introduction. I'd love to meet them.
Well, thanks for doing this. I know that you've been traveling and, back and forth, and I never know what part of the East Coast you're going to be in. So, although at least it's always Eastern time, so I don't have to worry about calling too late. I don't need Chuck being pissy with me. So anyway, any last minute questions? If not, for some reason, it looks like no. I hope that you recorded this because it's not showing up on my end.
I got it. I'll
Okay.
send it to you right after.
Send me the copy after it processes so I can get it over to Todd. I think I saw Todd came into the room somewhere. In that next week, Antoinette and Engelkey is going to be our featured speaker. We'll also see everybody that is coming to Denver for university next week. I was looking at the list, and for those that are not attending, if you can make Friday night at the meetup, there are some real power players. Tim Zeman, the president of the tribe and the new group that just joined ours. The
Shelley
financial guys are coming in.
Shelley Jorgensen,
Sanchez, who I had speak a couple weeks ago, he's coming in. There was some people from Canada I saw were coming in. You guys are coming in, right?
We won't be able to make it because our closing got moved, and we have to be there.
Well, anything I can do for you here, let me know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you stop the recorder and we'll end this and we'll say our goodbyes.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. It's great